Let us solve this question. Let omega be a complex root of quadratic equation x square plus x plus 1. If you put omega square plus omega plus 1 equal to 0. So it is cube root of unity values. Now, the value of x plus 1 by omega into x square plus 1 by omega square plus next time will be x cube into 1 by omega cube plus etc. Omega square plus 1 by omega raised to 100 plus 1 by omega raised to 100. The value from 1, 2, 3, it will be till 100. Now what I am doing, I am writing the 1 by omega term. How can I write 1 by omega term? 1 by omega term equal to 1 by omega into omega square into omega square. This is equal to omega square divided by omega cube. Omega cube equal to 1, which means omega square is the value. 1 by omega is equal to omega square. Now, what will be the first value? Omega plus omega square. 1 by omega is omega square into omega square plus 1 by omega square is 1 by omega the whole square, which means it will be 1 by omega raised to 4 into the next term will be omega cube into omega cube plus 1 by omega the whole cube, that is 1 by omega cube, which is equal to 1 by omega is omega square, it is omega raised to 6. Similarly, we can write 3 more terms. Omega, have you noticed this? Omega square, omega raised to 4, omega cube, omega raised to 6. So omega raised to 4 plus omega raised to 8, omega raised to 5 plus omega raised to 10 plus omega raised to into omega raised to 6 plus omega raised to 12 double till omega raised to 100 plus omega raised to 200. Now, see. Omega square, what is omega raised to 4? Omega raised to 4 is omega into omega cube, which is equal to omega. So this will become omega cube is 1, omega raised to 3n, omega raised to 3n equal to 1, which is equal to 1. Similarly, what is omega raised to 4? Omega raised to 4 is omega itself. What is omega raised to 8? Which is equal to omega raised to 6 into omega square. Omega raised to 3n is 1, it is omega square. And what is omega raised to 5? Omega raised to 5 equal to omega square into omega cube, which is equal to, this will be equal to 1, which means it is equal to omega square. What is omega raised to 10? Omega raised to 10 equal to omega raised to 9 into omega raised to 3n is 1. This is omega itself. Omega raised to 3n is 1, omega raised to 3n is 1. So have you noticed something? The value keep on repeating in the, if you take 3 values, 3 sets, the value keep on repeating. If you take any 3 sets, consecutive sets, the value keep on repeating, which means we need to find the value of first 3 value, then we can multiply, we can take the power. What is 1 plus omega plus omega square equal to 1, which means omega plus omega square, 1 plus omega plus omega square equal to 0, which means omega plus omega square equal to minus 1, omega plus omega square equal to minus 1. And what is omega square plus omega? Omega plus omega square is same, it is equal to minus 1 and 2 plus omega plus omega square is minus 1, omega plus omega square is minus 1. It is multiplication, it is multiplied. This first 3 times we have multiplied, it will be minus 1, 2. Here when you multiply next 3 times, this will be minus 1, this is minus 1 and again 2. Which means first 3 times will give you the value 2, next 3 times will be give you value 2. Which means how many intervals of 3 we can form till 100 we can group. See, from omega raised to 1, omega square, omega cube, 1 group. Then omega raised to 4, 5, 6, again group. So we can take group till 99th term. We can take omega till 99th term. Which means 2 will be repeated till 99. In 99, how many groups of 3 are exist? 99 divided by 3, it will be 33, which means 2 will be multiplied 33 times, and the last value means that after 3 group the 100 terms will be like starting of this term. After the multiple of 3, the term will be this one. What is omega plus omega square? 1 plus omega square equal to 0, which means omega plus omega square equal to minus 1. So this last value will be, this value will be minus 1, which means our answer is minus 2 raised to 33. Or you can calculate what is omega raised to 100. Omega raised to 100 is omega raised to 99 into omega plus what is omega raised to 200? Omega raised to 198 into omega square. This is a multiple of 3. which means sum of numbers are 1 plus 8 plus 9. This is 18. 18 is a multiple of 3. Sum divisible by 3 means the number itself divisible by 3. So omega raised to 3n equal to 1, omega raised to 3n equal to 1, and this term is omega plus omega square itself, which means this value is minus 1. That's why the group of 3 will give value 2. There are 33 groups forming 99 terms, which will be 2 raised to 33 into the last term will contribute a negative 1. So our answer is minus 2 raised to 33. Cut it off.